Um, Next up, we've got a number of questions coming in. Thanks for your questions. The next one is Mind Onion. Thanks for your question. They had a question for Nomad. They said, "Can you explain your opening to me as if I were a 5-year-old, please?" And I think they mean it sincerely. I don't think they're trying to troll.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I mean, these are not simple things to talk about, and there's a lot of that's something I definitely want to work on. Um, I guess the best way to describe it is that there are sort of two axes to giving evidence for something. One leads to unity and or is the basis of unification theories or models, and then one is more linear. So one's hierarchical, one's hierarchical. One's a union of an array of phenomena by making generalizations between those phenomena that account for both the qualitative aspects and the distinctions, and building a hierarchy up in like a natural order. Okay, so here's an illustration that might be helpful. Imagine you have a number line, and the numbers are in their natural order, namely they're in the sequence of their identity-dependent relationships. So 1 and 1 makes 2, and 2 plus 1 makes 3, and that's that following sequence. That would be analogous to sort of the natural hierarchy or a natural set of properties that exist, let's say, prior to instantiation. But instantiation or actualizing something would be something like taking 1, and taking 25, and taking 33, and taking negative 41, and bundling them in a composition, bundling in a sub-composition, externalizing them from that primary inlet, and that corresponding to, let's say, features of the world. Now, you can look at the features of the world. Let's say there's a variety of different compositions with different number variations. You can look at those features of the world and say, oh, well, look, there's these things in the world, and look how we're describing the world. Isn't that great? Or you can see how they interact, let's say, based on the properties they have. Or you can say, wow, look at the generalizations I can make between them. And if I put those generalizations in their natural orders, there's a number line that exhausts the scope of all possible, let's say, properties that can be instantiated. Now, what I've been saying is that number line, in its simplest form, comes down to 4 different things. It comes down to consciousness, comes down to form, or like when we can basically represent form as information. There is such thing as information, and it's what we record in the world. I don't know if Tom really believes in information either, but and then there's qualities in the world. There's things that inform us in, let's say, in a qualitative way rather than a distinct, discrete way. So those are the 3 main, and those things can be disassembled and reassembled into a variety of different modal properties. But when they have been assembled into those properties, they have unique predictive capacity in virtue of the properties that they do in fact have, based on how they interact, based on how they can be. But ultimately, those interactions that they have are driven by the natural tendency to want to, you could call it entropy if you want, but undirected normative force is entropy, but that's basically to drive back to uniformity, and that's how we measure energy and certain things. But the instantiation of those properties in those things to begin with is exactly what I'm referring to. And those 4 principles are universally constitutive of what I call God, what is God, for most major religions as well. There's devotional aspects to it too. There's devotional things to consider broadly, but that's the idea.
Gotcha. Thanks so much.